Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wonderful Saturday morning, about 8:21, March the 21st, 2026. It's the second day of spring. Yesterday, being the first day of spring, we actually used our air conditioner for the first time, and it worked. Um, so, we're going to, and look at this. Another glorious thing about today is throwback television is working. So that's great. That's great news. Because in about a little less than 40 minutes, the Marvel superheroes start. So, yeah, let's turn that sound down a little bit. It was a little too loud yesterday. Captain Strangelove was saying he could barely hear me talking. He was hearing Jack Benny louder than me, and that is actually true. Actually, when you listen to it on your iPhone, the sound mix seems to be where the background sound is louder. If you watch the show on a TV set, then it seems like the balance is a little better. I always like stuff playing in the background, music, TV, just because I don't like silence. I like constant noise, cacophony, bedlam. But okay, so when what we're doing is we're going through my entire comic book collection. We've gone through all the Silver Age, but we'll do it again. Later this spring or this summer, we'll go through all the Silver Age again and Golden Age. But right now, I'm going through every comic book from about 1971 up. We're at the G's. So that means we've done A, B, C, D, E, F, and now G. We just finished the Ghost Rider. And we'll just keep going through, and then we'll look at. Now, this is just the Marvel and DC stuff we're looking at, superhero stuff. Then we'll look at the horror stuff. We'll look at Gold Key. We'll look at Charlton. We'll look at the war comics, which I pulled out. We can look at Archie again. We can look at Harvey. All the comic companies. We'll just keep going through everything. And then all the magazines, which some of you don't consider them to be comic books. I do. Overstreet Price Guide considers them comics. I never saw a distinction, a difference. I love all the Warren stuff and the Marvel magazines and all that from the 70s. But anyway, we're just going through everything because because that's what I'm doing. So there. Now let's see. Now let's see what we got here. Yes. Okay. So whatever. What do you want to see next? Ghost Rider. Okay. Ghost Rider. Oh, excellent. Okay, that brings us to one of the first comics I started collecting. Was called Ghosts from DC. Now, my memory of the early days of my comic book collecting, which was I started collecting in 1969 as a 4-year-old with a Gold Key comic called Choo Choo Charlie. My older brothers were older than me by 9, 10 years. Both of them, one was 10 years older than me, one 9 years older, and so I saw that they read comics and they preferred DC. They weren't into Marvel for whatever reason. But in the early 70s, the Comics Code Authority had relaxed its standards. When that code first came in 1955, they were trying to kill off the horror comics, the explicit, violent horror comics, and the crime comics and everything that was considered objectionable, because they didn't. It was the Comics Code Authority was an internal organization created by, it was headed up by the guy that ran Archie Comics, and what their goal was is to police, self-monitor the comic industry so that the government wouldn't step in and do it. They wanted to put this little stamp on the front of the covers of all the comics saying, "We're okay, approved by the Comics Code Authority." So they wrote language in there that you can't have horror or terror in the title of your comic. You can't have vampires, the undead. A lot unless you were doing like Classics Illustrated adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Then, if it had literary value, you could do it. Or if it was comedic, like Dracula appearing as a cartoon character in the Bob Hope comic, you could get away with that. But you just couldn't have vampires and stuff. And anyway, they relaxed the standards. And so immediately, DC and Marvel and every other company jumped in to try to crank out horror books. And so they created a vampire character for Marvel, Morbius, who was a vampire, but they were a little nervous because the undead were not allowed in comics, according to the Comics Code Authority, so they called him Morbius the Living Vampire, so he wasn't undead. And they used that language. They had a mummy comic. It was the Living Mummy. So anyway, that's what they would do. So before long, there was a Dracula comic called Tomb of Dracula. And then DC plunged in and they plunged in with horror comics. House of Mystery became a horror comic again, and Joe Orlando, who was over those horror titles, made them look as much as possible like the old EC comics that had been run out of town by the Comics Code Authority in the mid-50s. And there was House of Mystery, House of Secrets, The Unexpected, It's Midnight, The Witching Hour, tons of them. And Marvel had a bunch of horror comics too. A lot of them in the early 70s were reprints of their old pre-code horror stuff. It was just, horror was everywhere on the spinner rack when I was a little kid. And I love monsters and horror, and that's what I was attracted to. And I love this comic called Ghosts. Now, I thought I had a lot more than I really do. But because as a little kid, you think just a stack this big, that's a lot of comics. But Ghost was a comic I loved. And this is I don't have these in bags and boards, but I should. This is my childhood copy here that I bought. Let's see what age I was when I bought this. This is Ghost number 7. I really should get the first 6 issues of Ghost, but I've never found them. This is my childhood copy. So this is the condition I kept it in all those years. This is one of the first 20-cent comics, which is what I consider the beginning of the Bronze Age, is when comics went to 20 cents. But I say that every episode. August, September of 72. Okay, so that means this would have come out June of 72. That means I had just finished first grade. This was the summer before second grade. So, this comic was purchased in Heidelberg, Germany, and then not long after this was purchased, we packed up and moved to Hampton, Virginia, and that's where I had my second grade year. So this is it's cool to know the history of the comic and where I bought it and everything. Here's a house ad promoting that Swamp Thing is coming. And even the Western comics were kind of horror related. They had weird Western tales with Jonah Hex. And the superhero comics were filled with horror as well. So this, it's starting to get hot in here, man. It's going up to in the 90s today. Let me see something. They're running Batfink right now. I think I've got these vents closed to this level. Oh, the air conditioners. See, I've got to kind of open them up. Open up some of them. I don't think the air is blowing right now. Just open up a few of these. Oh boy, I've got a lot to do this weekend. See what temperature it is outside. Well, it's kind of nice out here. I'd say it's probably in the 50s or 60s out here. Yeah, I wonder, why haven't I ever gotten the first 6 issues of Ghost? I guess I've never seen them for sale. Most comic stores would never, if they got a collection and had these horror comics, they wouldn't put them out on the floor, or they would just maybe throw them in the trash. And now people are starting to want these horror comics from the 70s. They become sought after because people can't afford the horror comics from the 50s anymore. And people have realized that was a great time period with great artists like Bernie Wrightson and Mike Plug and Mike Kaluta and oh no, the cat, no the cat, that's not good. You gotta go away, cat, man. No cat. It's making me nervous, man. No, you can't jump up here. No. Maybe this isn't a good time to count, man. So anyway, anyway, there's a boy. Something happened to this one bad over the years. Of course, I was real young. In my defense, this is issue 10. A lot of problems up here, and I'm the original owner of this comic, so this I just love skeletons and everything when I was a kid. But anyway, this was the big Christmas gift that DC was giving you. They were bringing back Captain Marvel with the original artist, C.C. Beck, coming back to wow. Yeah, that was something. Captain Marvel came back, and the sales weren't as good as they thought they would be for that. And DC expected the sales to be better for the Jack Kirby comics, the New Gods, and all the comics that. But what happened is the retailers report sales, how many issues sell. But the retailers never got a lot of those comics. They never showed up on the stands because the comics go to a distribution warehouse. And these young kids, 18, 19, 20-year-old comic book dealers, the type that would advertise in comics, like this ad here, for instance. It's a catalog you can get to get old comics. And there weren't many comic book stores, but there were people doing comic books mail order. And those kids would go to the distributor and buy under the table big piles of comics that they thought were going to be valuable and sought after, and then go out the back door with them. And then they would never get to the newsstand, or very few of them would get to the newsstand. So the drugstores and the 7-Elevens would report very few sales of the Kirby books, and they thought that the Captain Marvel, because he was a big hero from the Golden Age, and it's the hero returning with the original artist, that so they got piles of the Kirby books and everything. And I think that happened with Silver Surfer too. That's why Silver Surfer was canceled, because there were tons of hippies loving it. They would wind up at rock festivals, there were, it wasn't just Woodstock. There were a lot of regional festivals, and there'd be hippies just with stacks of Silver Surfer comics selling them. So they were being sold secretly, clandestinely, and then they'd say, "Oh, the comic had low distribution." It had low distribution because they never got to the newsstands. It happened with Howard the Duck #1 also, and I think #2 also. I never saw Howard the Duck 1. I was looking constantly. I wanted that book, and I never saw it, and never got it until a couple of years later. I remember it was going for a real high price, like $30 or something that seemed insanely high to me in the 70s, and it was high. That's $30 in 1976, 77 money is over $100 or more difference in how, but anyway. So, man, I sound like that. Sound like Joe Biden. But anyway, yeah. So people were the comic fans were interested in those books, but Captain Marvel was didn't have the original writers. That was the deal. Although it wouldn't have been hard to get, but anyway. Ghost #15. I always thought this ad was kind of tasteless. The hit that ended the ball game. Score in sports. In other words, don't score drugs. It just shows some dead junkie's hand to sell your shoes. Huskies, which, man, those are some ugly sports shoes. Beautiful artwork. This is Ghost #15. The wonderful work of Alfredo Alcala. I was talking to you guys about Ernie Chua, who later became Ernie Chan. Apparently he was from the Philippines, and some problem with how his name was written on his birth certificate. It was written wrong, so that's why he had to use Chua, CHUA, and then he got that changed, I guess, when he became a U.S. citizen, so that's when he was able to be Ernie Chan. But it seems like you could be any name you wanted on the front cover of a comic book, like Graham Ingalls back in the EC days used to sign it Ghastly, because he was a little embarrassed about doing those horror comics. This issue, these are all childhood issues, number 16. I always liked this Daisy BB gun ad because it shows that this kid was reading a copy of Mad, and then that there is the Dennis the Menace comic. It's a birthday comic with a pink cover. I have that issue. So the 1970s kid's bedroom, a kid that didn't treat his books very well, but it was a kid that read Mad and Dennis the Menace, and those were books that interested me and everything, so I was thrilled. Anyway, this is supposed to be true ghost stories. We challenge you to read true tales of the weird and supernatural. Now, this one coming up, I just bought a couple months ago at a weird collector store, number 17, but it looks like it completely fits in with my collection because it's in about the same condition as my childhood books. So, they're promoting the premiere of Plop. Oh, that was a comic I dearly loved, and this was Prez, but a teenage president. It's kind of based on Wild in the Streets, the AIP movie about a young guy, a teenager that becomes president of the United States, and they put everyone over the age of 30 in prison camps and force them to be on LSD constantly. But this, I never got this. This is a treasury. Well, DC called them limited collector's editions, but I always called these big tabloid size comics treasury editions. But I got the very first one DC put out, reprinting some of the Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer comics from the 50s, and that one's very sought after because there aren't many people that bought it and saved it. But anyway, here's 19. It's fun to flip through these. Okay, someone was putting out a magazine called Golden Funnies, reprinting the classic newspaper comic strips. I don't think I've ever seen a copy or held a copy of that, Golden Funnies. And they're selling 12 issues for $4.50. You could get 52 issues for $17. I wonder if it went that long. It was from Illinois. That's something I never saw. See, they're all in with their, she's from The Witching Hour, and that's Kane from House of Mystery, and that's the host of The Unexpected. Dang. And it was just a wonderful time to be a kid. Look, the first issue of The Shadow coming out with that beautiful cover. The spinner rack at this time in October of 73. So that would be August of 73. That's right as I'm starting my third grade year. That is a wonderful time in my life. We went from Germany, and then 72, 73 school year, which wonderful monster comics during that school year. That was second grade. That's when Tomb of Dracula and Werewolf by Night started, and all the Marvel horror magazines started. Vampire Tales, Dracula Lives, Monsters Unleashed, Tales of the Zombie. All of that was just the magazine rack. It wasn't just Warren. You see Vampirella, there'd be Tales of the Zombie. There were so many beautiful painted covers. It was just a wonderful time, I tell you. Right, Kat? Number 19. And then we moved to San Antonio, which is my hometown, for third and fourth grade. And this is now where we're at now. This is my third grade year, going to Regency Place Elementary. Right about the same time this issue kind of came out, I discovered wacky packages. Do you know what wacky packages are, Callie the cat? I'll have to show you. Wacky packages. Of course, that how are wacky packages related to comics? Well, they're really like an extension of Mad Magazine. You had artists like, Norman Saunders painted a lot of those. Norman Saunders, well, I don't really think of him as a comic book artist, but he's the same genre. He did pulp covers, and he did the Mars Attacks gory bubblegum stickers in the 60s. And, it's all part of the same thing. I call it rock and roll culture or trash culture. It's the stuff your parents weren't that thrilled with. Mad Magazine, rock and roll, everything that kids are into. Toys, Saturday morning cartoons, cool little frogmen you can put in your bathtub, everything. It's to the comic books. It was all part of the same thing. And it was a wonderful time period, the period of the 50s, although I wasn't born then, the 60s, the 70s, just a wonderful time. And it started to die out. And you can see it as you go through these long boxes. You see in them, it all started to wind down in the middle of the 80s. Is that, what do they call that? The law of entropy, that things wind down. And it just seemed like the television, everything was starting to get, it just wasn't as exciting. You say, well, it's just because you were getting older, you were in college, you were out with your friends, you were not, but no, the old books are still great. That's the thing. It wasn't that I outgrew them, it's that the comics changed. In some cases they changed, and I kind of liked the changes there for a little bit until I realized these changes are bad. I enjoyed reading The Dark Knight and Watchmen. But I didn't realize, I thought those were just little, offshoots of comics. Those are that comics would continue the way they always have been, and those are just kind of little things for adults that they could read. But then they started incorporating the whole tone and attitude of those dark books into the regular continuity, and then the things stopped being fun. Because in a super serious comic like Watchmen or something, you're not going to have an ad for the monster ghost or the vampire bat. That's the world I like. Monsters. I didn't even mention monsters in horror movies. What am I thinking? That was really my first love. And the Pirates of the Caribbean, man. This ride at Disney, this is model kits that you can get that rubber band so it would make them move. I'll tell you, putting Johnny Depp's head, or his mannequin moving around into that Pirates of the Caribbean ride, I thought was criminal. But oh well, 21. Here's a cover I always like, number 23. Look at that. Ooh. Wonderful. Look at that, man. That's great. Alfredo Alcala. When we were talking about Artie Chan, and I sought him out, and I saw some conventions from 30, 40 years ago where he was interviewed. That there's news footage from conventions from many years ago that's interesting on YouTube, from the San Diego Comic Convention and stuff. Here's another magazine that reprints old newspaper strips, or is that what they're doing? It's Yeah, because Batman and Superman had newspaper strips. It's the Menominee Falls Gazette from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. And I don't know if it was done on newsprint, but all of these heroes from the old days, it's reprinting old newspaper strips. Ricochet, Friday Foster, people no one remembers, but Mandrake and Steve Canyon, Red Rider. Interesting. So this is the house ads that would show you the other books on sale. Here's 24. This reprinted larger size, but exactly page by page. Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman. People would take the cardboard cover off of this, and inside it was the slick cover and everything printed just the way it had been back in the 30s, except, oh man, this cat is making me nervous. It was, people have tried to sell it and say it was real. I had to convince someone just a few years ago who swore he had the first Superman comic, and I said, I think that's because I said, is it larger? He says, oh yeah, because he thought that was what I wanted him to say. And anyway, they don't want to believe you. They think you're trying to rip them off. Oh well. Tales of the Haunted and the Damned. How comics have progressed since the Comics Code approved that. Wonderful time period. Monster-sized monsters. Oh boy. It's almost time for the Marvel superheroes. Oh, this was a great time too. The debut of the Mego figures. And the first wave, well, they had Marvel out at this point too. But the first wave was all, that first Christmas, we're already up to June of 74. So this is, yeah, by then they had the Marvel. But it seems like the first Christmas of 72, I think they only had DC heroes then. Because I remember I got Batman and Robin and Superman and Aquaman that Christmas. And I think right after that, they got the rights to do the Marvel characters too. I could be wrong. And I had the removable cowl Batman. I still have his cowl, the mask, but I don't. That figure is long gone because they had an internal rubber band that held the arms and legs on, and then when that broke, the figure was just, and wouldn't. It just fell apart. Now they had model kits of the Haunted Mansion, which is another thing I dearly loved. Had the Viewmaster reels. I'd love to look at those. What are these? Plastic. It's fantastic. It's plastic. Reflective. I guess they're plastic reflective posters. I don't remember this ad. Of course, it's probably been decades since I opened this comic book last. It's just criminal. The Freaky Phantom of Watkins Glen. I love ghosts and everything, but if you did it wrong, like that cartoon, The Funky Phantom, that reminded me of The Funky Phantom. I just hated the voice of that character. That wasn't. I like Scooby-Doo, though. That was a good show, but Scooby-Doo, they were never real monsters or ghosts. It always turned out it was some hoax at the end. I didn't like that. First issue, this is Sensation Comics, but the first issue of Wonder Woman there's a facsimile of that coming out Wednesday, or did it just come out last Wednesday? But they're trying to do these facsimiles the actual size of the Golden Age comic, but they don't get it quite right. They make it more magazine sized. It's not exactly the right scale, but they're trying. Oh well. How about that? Here's issue 29. I've got a lot of these 20-cent ones. I tried to buy this every time I saw it. August of 74. Okay, so this is the summer of 74, so oh, what a great time. And all those Power records, and man, the friends I had and everything. We made our own comic books. That was going into 4th grade, and then after 4th grade, we would move across the country to Tacoma, Washington, right near Seattle, and then I would lose touch with those friends. One of those friends I reconnected with about 10, 12 years ago on Facebook, and saw he was still into comics. He was now a sports announcer. But I could see, he had a picture of Iron Man there on. Yeah. Okay. And then this was a comic I got more recently, number 32. And it looks like I paid $6 for this. I don't know what store. Might have been Kevin, but I don't know if that's his price tag or not. Kevin at Gotham City Comics. Ghost. Okay, so the Marvel superheroes should be starting any minute, which tells me that this channel I don't know how they're doing it. They just seem to show whatever they want, and it seems like they get away with it. And there's no cracking down on them. It's like but I don't question it. It's just something that exists now. It may not exist a year from now, but you just gotta, I guess, live in the moment and enjoy things. Where's my rope? All right. All right. Here's Ghost 37. We're at 25 cents now. Ghost 44. This is not a childhood copy. There's no way I would have allowed a comic to be in this condition. Also, I would never buy a comic that I always made sure comics that I bought were perfectly aligned, unless it was the only copy on the stands. But I just liked it that way. What are they going to show this morning? Let's see. I've got to turn it down because the sound, like I said, Disney won't even allow me to have the sound in the background. It's Captain America, so I got to turn it down because I'll get a copyright claim and I'll have to edit that sound out. Whereas somehow Throwback Television's getting away with just showing the cartoons. Again, it's a mystery. Here's 45. By this point, they had this big library of these giant-sized comic books you could get. Just 2 days ago, I made a 60s garage rock song based on this ad, where they're singing, "This could be your head. I want to hang your shrunken head on my wall." And that's a Mort Drucker illustration. Mort Drucker from Mad Magazine. 45. 48. A lot of women go. Shit! Scared the shit out of me. God damn. The cat jumped up and the dog barked at the cat. God damn. Sorry for that shriek. 48. Shrieked like a woman, man. I didn't know what was happening. Okay, it looks like it's a state of detente here. They're sitting together. It just startled the dog. Now, when the dog's asleep and you startle Drew awake, it's not good, but no harm. Here's ghost number 49. Well, see, we're starting to get, this is kind of when it started to go bad. The comics are 30 cents at this point. We're in September, October 76. Yeah, how about that? Wait, what was that? 49? And looks like I come back for 61. So at this point, I wasn't buying it monthly. Here's a ad for Showcase 97 with Power Girl. I remember I bought that. Oh my gosh. So when is all this disclosure going to come out about the UFOs, or as I think they're calling them, UAEs now? I don't know. They said that was going to be released, 63. The Burning Bride. Look at this van. Or this creature breaking out of it. Still some slot car stuff going on, but that wouldn't last long once the Atari came along and kids were able to play video games in their house. Then physical objects cease to be intriguing. Kids just escaped into their video screens. Weird Western Tales had a character called Cinnamon. I'd forgotten about that. We're up to August of 78. So that means this came out in June of 78. My wife was 1 month old when this issue came out. What's that one? Ad for a switchblade comb. So it's still, the old ways haven't died out completely. And DC went up to 50 cents. with 44 pages. And The Haunted Barbarian. November 78. It was a gamble. They comics were at 35 cents and Marvel went up to 40 cents. DC said, to heck with it. We'll go not up a nickel, but we'll go up 15 cents to 50 cents and then give the kids extra pages. Did not work out for long because, see, by here, they're back to 40 cents. Number 81, this is not a childhood copy. This is dirty. And it's got all these creases. But I got it somewhere because you don't see these comics become available very often. Well, it's got a Mark Jewelers insert, so this doesn't mean anything. Just so 102. Okay, I don't know how long Ghost went, but this is the last issue I've got. This guy had a different art style. What is his name? I forgot. Art is Rick Estrada. As told to Tamblyn O'Flynn, they're trying to say this is a true story. Rick Estrada. I don't think that's Eric Estrada of Chips fame. Oh yeah, so that's the end of my run of Ghosts. Which brings us to Giant Size Iron Man. Now, a lot of these giant size books, I put them with their title. Like, I don't know why I have a Giant Size Iron Man here instead of at the end of my Iron Man run. That's what I normally do, but for whatever reason, this one's here. And then I have Giant Size Marvel Triple Action #2 here, which I probably should have filed with the Marvel Triple Action comics. And this reprints a story from the Avengers, a Daredevil story, and Doctor Strange teaming up with Thor story. So this is all going to be, Silver Age. That's Steve Ditko there, obviously. And a Daredevil Gene Colan story. Oh boy. They're selling the Aurora model kits, the Mego figures, and those 60s plastic Marks figures. This is July 75. This is a good chunk of fun for 50 cents. Now, this is Giant Size Spider-Man and Doc Savage. I think this is just called Giant Size Spider-Man, and then the one before this I think was Giant Size Spider-Man and Dracula. And I think I have that one. It must be with my Spider-Man comics. So it looks like they do have a Doc Savage story here, but it's very short. But this is about the time that the movie came out, so they're doing what they can to publicize the movie's release. Actually, it's longer than I realized. Okay, it goes for Yeah. Yeah, it's the majority of. Yeah, it goes on for a majority of the book. Yeah. And then there's a Steve Ditko story, which is actually from Daredevil, it looks like. A Daredevil comic where Spider-Man. Where is it? No, it's from Spider-Man 16, where he teams up with Daredevil. And then I have another copy of that same issue. Okay, what's next? Here's Giant Size Superstars. This is not a real. Because notice it doesn't say 50 cents, it says $7. This is a facsimile that came out, see, not long ago, in the last year. So I got that from Gotham City Comics. It was my comic book store, even though it's across the country. Here's Giant Size Supervillain Team Up #1, and Giant Size Supervillain Team Up #2. So Marvel had that supervillain team up comic, and DC had a supervillain comic called the Society of Supervillains, Secret Society of Supervillains, something like that. Okay, so I have lots of these giant size comics. They're just with their titles, and okay. Very strange. I got this from a dollar bin. It's Girl Comics #1. Don't ask me why. Girl Comics #2. And I just bought them thinking, well, what are they going to be like? Girl Comics #3. Okay, that brings us to the first fantastic issue of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This is a copy I bought off the stands. Needs to be bagged and boarded. Godzilla never looked exactly right. He never really looked like any of the different versions of Godzilla in the movies, but he was kind of Marvel's version. I don't know. I guess he's close enough. So they had Godzilla, go to different parts of the country. There he is, wrecking the Space Needle in Seattle. This is issue 2 with the Orca ad. And they had S.H.I.E.L.D. going after Godzilla. So he was he was kind of brought into the Marvel world, and here he's fighting the champions. I think I bought all these issues. Issue 4. Got to bag and board these, but when I do that, I'm going to have to get some new boxes because that's going to add. They're not going to fit anymore. Oh, I don't have all of them. That's not true. From issue 4 to 15. I guess I didn't buy it every month. I thought I did. I guess I just had too many things I needed to get with my money. Like old Silver Age comics, maybe. At this point, Lone Star Comics was open, and so I was trying to get as many old Fantastic Four comics from the 60s and old Doom Patrol comics. Yeah, this is 1978. This is November of 78. Man, Godzilla looks like he's ate a little bit too much at Thanksgiving there. Issues. These in order. Okay, yeah. Here's 17. Godzilla shrinks down, it looks like. So, how about that? Godzilla. I thought I had all of those Godzilla issues. Oh well. You didn't have any of the other Godzilla cast of characters. You didn't have Ghidorah and Rodan. And if all the other monsters from the Godzilla universe had appeared in this comic, it probably would have gone over better, maybe. Here's issue 20. I don't know how much longer it went after this. Here's Gotham Girls, a modern comic, but it has artwork, Bruce Timm style, you know, like the cartoon from the 90s. And I like that style. I like that style a lot. This is actually drawn. Jennifer Graves is the penciler and Jay Bone is the inker. And this is issue 1. I don't know how long this went. The floating heads up there are pretty cool. Okay, this is a book that could be just put on a bookshelf. It's Green Arrow by Jack Kirby. Are they all Kirby stories? I think so, yeah. This is a book that came out, it was $6, and it came out in 2001. Green Arrow 2. Green Arrow 86. Green Arrow 32, which is, you can tell it's not a code-approved comic with a cover like that. And then, this is Green Arrow number 1 with a Kevin Smith story. Green Arrow 2 of that little mini-series or whatever was going on. Green Arrow 3. Okay. And Green Arrow 4, this is from July of 2001, so this is right before September 11th. The artwork's not very good. I guess I was getting this because of Kevin Smith. I don't know. Why couldn't they have better artwork? Oh, there's more. How about that? What is that? It's issue 5, August 2001. Did I get this whole? Maybe I got the whole series. There's 6. I don't remember it at all. Number 7. It's called Quiver. October of 2001, and then Green Arrow 40 from September 2004 from a dollar bin. That brings us to Green Hornet number 1 with this magnificent Jim Steranko cover that you can't see because of the mylight. I bought this new. Jim Steranko could always be counted on. Can always, I mean, he's still around. I shouldn't talk about him in past tense. Okay, now we've got a Spider-Man cartoon starting, which I can't have that sound playing either, because that'll get me in trouble too. Okay, that brings us to Green Lantern. Which the Green Lantern's a character I love. I have a lot of Green Lantern from the '60s, but this, as far as the Bronze Age, I don't remember. It seems like they stopped publishing this comic for a while. Is that right? I think so. Here's issue 90, co-billed with Green Arrow. It's another copy of 90. There's 91. And 92. '94. When did he shave his beard? Seems like between 92 and 94, he's clean shaven. 95. '96. He's got the beard again. I have 2 copies of that. 96. How about that? Okay. '97. '98. '99. 105. Look at this custom backing board from Torpedo Comics. Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, I find those fascinating. I know it's also in Orange, California. 106. They had a lot of stores had custom backing boards in the '90s. 107. 108. And they went up to 50 cents, and they have a Golden Age Green Lantern in the back. Okay. 108. 109. Here's 109. Another copy of 109 that's not bagged and boarded. Well, that plumbing thing, I thought it was only going to be $401, and then, but they hadn't added in the hourly rate, and they took 2 hours, so that was, so there's a Mike Grell cover, so it wound up being over $600, $620, I think, so that's put us right back into the poorhouse. 110. Another copy of 110. 113. The plumbing disaster I was telling you about, like, that you probably don't care about. The bathroom and kitchen in the basement all backed up. Drew, do you want to go on a walk? What are you doing? You want to go out there? Let's see if she wants to go on a walk. Do you want to go on a walk, Drew? I think she might. Let's take advantage of her wanting to go outside. Drew, let's go. Switch to my sunglasses. You hear that cracking? Okay. Shoes. There are my shoes. Drew, let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. No, 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 not up there, Drew. She went back up on the couch. Drew, let's go see the chemtrails, man. I'm sure they got lots of nice, pretty chemtrails out there, man. Let's go, Drew. Come on, Drew. We gotta go. Come on, Drew. This music is gonna get me. It's copywritten. Come on, Drew. We gotta go. There's the cat guarding the door. Here's the other cat. I don't think Drew is going to let us go on a walk. Drew, do you want to go on a walk? Let's go. Well, hey, what you doing? You don't want to go on a walk, Drew? Let's go. I can't get her to go, man. I gotta turn the sound down, man. I turned it up for the cats to watch Spider-Man while we went on the walk, Drew. Now Drew's getting down. Get down, get down, get down. Okay, Drew. Does that mean you want to go now? Have you changed your mind? It's nice and sunny out there, man. Come on, Drew. Let's go. Let's go, Drew. Now she's changed her mind. Or have you? Come on, Drew. Let's go. Now she's pulling the other direction. Drew, let's go on a walk. Let's go on a walk, Drew. Come on. Come on, Drew. Let's go on a walk. Drew, let's go count the chemtrails. Come on. Maybe she knows that the chemtrails are bad. All right, Drew, I'm going to go on a walk without you then. I'm going without you, Drew. Let's see if she comes out. I'm going without you, Drew. Drew, I'm going without you. Well, she's not coming, man. I guess not. Looks like the sky is surprisingly clear. Oh, now Drew's at the door wanting to go. What is going on here? Drew, you want to go now? What's going on, man? Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't have to put a coat on or anything. It's great. Come on, Drew the dog. Now she's willing to go out. It's insanity. Has anyone ever heard of a dog that doesn't want to go outside? Come on, man. It's like the island of misfit toys. Everything's messed up here at the Hotel Orloff. She's not wanting to go outside, man. Well, Drew, I'm going outside. You sure you don't? Come on. I'm going outside. Come on. I'm going on out. No, she's going the other way. Dagnabbit. You darn burning it. Come on, man. Do you want to go outside, Drew? Why, it's a beautiful, lovely day. Let's go, Drew. Drew the dog. Okay. Now you want to go? My God. Grass is getting green. Okay, so the air conditioning unit doesn't need to be cleaned out. Let's see. So it's coming along. It's nice to not see chemtrails in the sky. They must have the day off. Or if you have any mail. Well, the air conditioner's working, so that was the main reason I want to go out there to hear it going. Okay, well, I thought she wanted to go outside. Still a Spider-Man cartoon playing. 9:35 a.m. So we're still in the late 70s. The late 70s are not as good as the early 70s. And then the 80s are not going to be as good as the late 70s. And then the 1990s are going to be a nightmare of terribleness, of junk. And in the 2000s, early 2000s, they try to course correct from the 90s and it just never really fully works. Okay. So let's see what we've got next. I don't remember where we were. Remember seeing that comic? Let's just pull out another pile. Now 40 cents. That must be when they went back down from 50 cents. That's 114 and 115. Here's 116. It's a nice ad for Warlord. That's a great comic. Okay, 116. Bunch of. Okay. Next, it's 120. Oh, this must come from Night Tiger Comics. He's written September 1979. Brick City Comics. May 18th, 24 is when he purchased this comic. So this must have been a part of a prize package I won from his show. 122. Oh, that looks interesting. There was a book called America at War about war comics, and I don't have that. Here's 123. Wow. 124. 125. 126. Star Trek the Motion Picture dates this. That is, if you were around at the time, then that helps you date it. 126. Okay. So anyway, how are you guys doing? Wonderfully. Okay, so 127, 131, 136, 141. Here's 142 with the Omega Men. And a double-sized 150th anniversary issue. And it looks like I come back for this great Gil Kane cover for 169. And 170. Is Gil Kane doing the interiors too here at this point? No, but the interiors are good. They're good. 171. Oh, nice. Look at that. Wow. Alex Toth and Terry Austin, too. Wow. Alex Toth did the interior in that one, too. 172. Submariner's the one that Disney doesn't care about because people put whole episodes of Submariner on YouTube and Disney never balks about it. They must not have full control over the Submariner character. It must be someone else has their part ownership, because they just don't seem to care. And then they took this great character and turned him into a weakling character in the Black Panther sequel that didn't have the Black Panther in it, 173, which makes no sense. But amazing. 174. Every time I see Dave Gibbons, I think, wasn't he in ZZ Top? 181. Boy, how far have video games come since that era in television? 181. But it was good enough to kill off the comic book industry. Okay, we're up to those years that I complain about, 1986, but let's see if this comic is bad like a lot of the others. It looks okay. I don't know. It's okay, and then this looks like 1990s. Yeah, definitely 1990s. It's ugly, it's hideous, it's everything that the 1990s were. And then that's the end of my Green Lantern collection. Then I have these reprint issues that reprint the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil years. This is from about 1983. So these are good. Oh, there's more coming, actually. I forgot that there was another comic called Tales of the Green Lantern Corps. Here's number 2 of that reprint title. That's a new Neil Adams cover. That's a reprint cover there. Looks like Neil Adams did one new cover for the front of these. That's a new cover, and then that's a reprint cover. And so Neil Adams Completist had to get this for the new Neil Adams cover and all that. And number 5, and there's number 7. I think that the air conditioner was turned on, but the boiler is still fighting against the air conditioner or something. Let's see, number 8. It's getting a little hot in here. And then this is a facsimile of issue 85. So I should put this well, yeah, I should put that in a different place. Okay. And then I showed you 7. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay. Okay, and then there was this other comic, Tales of the Green Lantern Corps, which looks like I was getting it for a while. Number 2. Oh, wait, what are all these books? Oh, okay. Number 3. And then I don't know, this is called the Green Lantern Corps. I don't know if it's the same comic. It's issue 209. And it looks like I got it from the quarter bin at Lone Star Comics. There's their stamp. And then this looks very 1990s and just horrible. Yeah. I'm getting confused here. 2. This is January 87, Green Lantern Corps 208. And then this is the new 52. This is Green Lantern number 37. Must be a newly started comic, but it has this great cover by Darwin Cook. He did all these sideways covers around that time. And then here's a Green Lantern from a dollar bin. It's number 6 from some run with Adam Strange. This is very recent. That's when that Shazam movie came out. And a Gilbert Hernandez book called Grip, The Strange World of Men. And so, and then I think from this point on, the rest of the box is all Gru the Wanderer. Oh, there's one more Grip. How many? But I only got 2 issues of this, and it looks like it's a 5-issue series. And then Gru the Wanderer, which was started with PC Comics. It's another copy of the same one. And it was Sergio Aragonés is from 1982, December of 82. He has Mark Evanier, or Evanier, I've heard people pronounce it both ways. He kind of does the translating. I mean, Sergio Aragonés spoke English, but I think he helps put it into perfect English, his ideas. So this was a great comic. It was with PC Comics, which was, I think, Pacific Comics. And then this was long before the PC meant politically correct. That's when Dave Stevens was doing covers. Alien Worlds is another great comic that came out from this company. At a certain point, Marvel takes over, and Marvel never would have allowed that cover. And I don't know. It was published. I don't know when they stopped publishing it. It seems like it was still being published not too many years ago. It seems like during the pandemic, is that what killed this comic off, the pandemic? It seems like, I don't know. But it's one of those things where I just kind of forgot about this comic. But it was, this is special number 1. And then Marvel, under its Epic imprint, this is issue 1 from Marvel. And there were rumors going around about 5 years ago that this was going to be turned into an animated series on Netflix or maybe it was a movie. I don't know. And then it never happened, but people were starting to wonder whether they should speculate on this comic. It's 4, 5, and I've got number 62 in the wrong place. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 10. I'm missing number 9. '11. There were these horrible people that were friends of mine that were at a comic book convention in Dallas in the early 90s. And, you know, I knew my friend, they were friends of my friends, and they were there. They'd come from another part of Texas, and they were, so I was, you know, talking to these guys, and they at some point were saying that they had a death pool or something going. I'm not talking about the character Deadpool. I'm talking about they thought they were trying to guess all the guests that were there, all the artists and everything that were there. They were trying to figure out who's going to be the next person to die. That's, can you imagine people that think like that? And then they were going to get their signature, and they were kind of like betting, who was. And this guy said he thought Sergio Aragonis was going to be the next to die. And this is like in '92. Well, that idiot was proven wrong because he's still around. And I keep forgetting when I think about all the people that work for Mad Magazine, and I think, man, they're all gone now. But because Al Jaffe passed away in his 90s a couple of years ago. And then I thought, is there anyone left? But no, Sergio Aragonis just keeps going, man. And hopefully he will for a long period of time. But I just remember that. There's more Gru comics, but my neck's starting to hurt. And I've got to clean off these pinball machines because the cats can get up on these pinball machines now. And they're starting to knock stuff off. And that's not good. So, and it feels really hot in here, man. I got to see why that is. Whoever schedules this channel, it has impeccable taste, except for one show that comes on every weekday night. That's a new show. It's like a comedy science fiction show shot in black and white, and I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Captain Isotope. It's so bad, and it disturbingly bad. Okay. So, let's see what we got here. I'm going to start putting some of this stuff in this box, I think. There comes the air. Here comes the air, do-do-do-do. Here comes the air. Well, we're going to get fish and chips tonight. There's a food truck. Well, I've never heard of food trucks before a few years ago. But we live in a small town. Sometimes neighboring towns will bring in a little truck with a kitchen in it with food that you can't normally eat. And there's a food truck coming tonight that's fish and chips. And it's going to set up in the Dollar General parking lot. So that's exciting. Okay. I'm saving this newspaper because of the skeleton. Can you believe that? These are some newspapers that I need to put somewhere. We're gonna finish this, man. We're gonna get this cleared off today. See, things are falling. Oh, things are falling. Is that a Kiss song? Oh, things are falling. Here's the poster for the state fair from last year. They've got a dark ride called the Old Mill, and it's been around since the 1920s. And you'd think it'd be exciting, but we watched this. These people go through the ride on YouTube, and it's got nothing in it. You just go through this tunnel, this dark tunnel, and there's nothing except occasionally there'll be some advertisement billboard that'll pop up, and it's like, why is all dark rides have monsters and things that pop up, but no, it's cat, get down. See, that's the problem. The cat's already getting up here, man, trying to F things up. Well, what is this newspaper here for? This is from the 90s. I hated the 90s. I don't have my reading glasses on. Anyway, so it's just a classic tunnel of love is what it is. There's nothing to see because you're supposed to smooch with your girlfriend or wife or whatever because there's nothing to see and you just float along, like you see in the old comic books and the Archie comics, but I like the ones where you float along and there's a bunch of menacing creatures and stuff on either side. That's my thing. Okay, so the superheroes are stopping now, so I can turn the sound back up. And the room's starting to cool off, so I'm happy about that. This was the original closing theme of the Marvel superhero show, but this isn't the exact. They've recreated the images. This is not how it originally went. You can see how it went on YouTube. People have worn 16mm prints of it. Oh, that cool air feels good. Okay. Glasses. If I have this newspaper, I don't know why. I think this was a gift from someone. November 11th, 1995. Clinton GOP near deadline for shutdown. Boy, how things don't change. There's always some shutdown going on. There's some reason why this newspaper's been saved, so I'm going to have to go through it to figure that out. Here's some. It says they're tattoos, but I think they're actually stickers. I think those could go on comic boxes, I guess. This, I think, is Christmas music. Yeah.
Now the God of peace, that brought again from the dead our Lord Jesus, the great shepherd of the sheep, through the blood of the everlasting covenant.
These are some Christmas cards. Oh, it's a Saturday Superstar movie, man. Let's see what they're going to give us today. Sometimes the Saturday Superstar movie had something decent. Usually it didn't. I love this theme song. Almost as good as the theme to Love American Style, but not quite.
Nonsense. We have our cadet guards.
Oh, it looks like it's a lame one. What is this, Three Musketeers or something?
You have your orders. When the carriage reaches the inn, attack and dispose of the guards.
What?
You understand, after slaying the guards, You will retreat when I arrive to rescue the occupants. Brilliant idea, Count de Guiche. You gain twice.
I didn't even record any of those Marvel cartoons the whole time. I wasn't recording. I thought I was recording. The cat's up there again, man. Cat, get down, man. You can't be up here, man. You gotta get down. Well, I have all those cartoons. I don't even know why I was recording them. See, I saved the phone book from when I lived in Tacoma, Washington for the bicentennial year. Norman Rockwell did the cover for the 75-76 uh,
Say that word now, but never again. Now that is most sensitive. You would die before your time. Surely a nose can't be all that conspicuous. Judge for yourself. He comes. Innkeeper, quickly now. Wine for my lady. Where is your hospitality? Ah, gentlemen. Monsieur de Bergerac. Monsieur. You're preparing, uneventful.
These are the originals of my Tomb of Terror TV show. Where should I put these? Where's a safe place? Maybe over here. Oh boy. Those fit? There's a Lego instruction book from my childhood. Oh boy. Sometimes I'll be in the grocery store and I'll see something that's look, there's a purple Batmobile and there's a haunted looking car, and I've had this since the 90s. I don't know what to do with these. I thought this was unique. It's a Hot Wheels car with no wheels on it, so I thought that's amusing, you know. It's a conversation piece. Now I've got to figure out a place to put. Now the cat's going up there. No, cat. Shut up. I can't win. Wherever I go, she goes to cause havoc because she loves me and wants to be near me. Okay. This should go with a movie poster. Well, I've got stuff to do. Let me do this, and then I'll show you all this in the next episode tomorrow that it's all been done. So I will see you guys later.